So I was actually wondering if you would be willing to describe what life is actually like you, because you have taught life is actually like you. Oh my goodness. What life is like for you? Let me rephrase, since apparently I have brain frog. Wow, that was even better.
That was so good. I love it. Brain frog is, hang on, I can't even say it today. Brain frog, brain fog, brain fog. Oh, we are a pair today. We are a pair today.
Yes, indeed we are.
If
Okay.
if my husband heard me saying brain fog, frog, right? Oh goodness, that right now, he'd be like, marriage from The Princess Bride.
I haven't watched that in so long. I should rewatch that. That's a good film.
It is. I actually am going to have my students read the book because it's satire,
Oh,
to introduce them to
nice.
the genre of satire in the next few months. So yes,
Oh,
and
that'll
then
be lovely.
that's a good excuse to have to watch excerpts from the film. Hmm?
Yes, it is.
It's not completely non-self-serving.
The joys of being a teacher and being able to pick what you like to teach. Fun.
Aw.
So let me try this question again.
All right.
What is life like for you living with mastocytosis?
Yes. It's a very serious matter. Uh, yes. Life with mastocytosis has been quite a journey. Uh, it we've gotten better at it now. And I remember when I first got it, somebody that I met on a forum, because back then we didn't have things like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things like that, TikTok. We just had email and forums. and and I'm saying Facebook. Facebook kind of came out, but like people were just starting to use it because it was 2007 ish, 2008. We were using blogs, um, websites and things like that. But I met a lady on a forum for what would later become the Canadian Mastocytosis Society, which I am a co-founder of. Um, and I thought she was full of sugar beans.
Oh, that was a good one. I saw you trying to say something else there and you caught yourself. That was good. Sugar beans. That's a good one. Gonna have
I
to
teach,
remember that.
I teach, I teach students who are at early and middle years level, so I have to cover sometimes. Yes, sugar beans. That's where that went today. Yes. Anyway, yeah, because what she said to me was, um, you'll get better at this. And when I was having anaphylaxis multiple times a day, and my I'd recently lost my driver's license, which meant I could no longer go anywhere. I lost my job because of that. And then I lost all my opportunities that I volunteered loads in my community. I was involved in everything, including firefighting. Um, so I lost everything. And then, of course, I was at home all the time because we weren't sure where was safe for me. And I kept trying, like, don't get me wrong, I kept trying to go out. I kept trying to go do things. And every time I went and tried to do something, we'd end up using one or two EpiPens or more. And I'd end up in the hospital or ICU or the emergency room and or all of the above. Some of these trying to live my life as normally as possible or as normal as I had lived it before. And I'm even averse to using the word normal right now, by the way. It was just what I was used to at the time, and how I'd done it my whole life. Um, Meant that I was getting sick and I was having very serious allergic reactions that I was waiting for a hospital to call anaphylaxis. And of course, anaphylaxis involves having three or more body systems involved in an allergic reaction. And so, I go in going, oh, I guess I'm having an allergic reaction to something. And they'd be like, no, you're having anaphylaxis. And so, of course, and then there was fallout from that because when your mast cells are activated like this, as I'm sure you know, they hurt really badly, deeply. um I've only been able to sort of describe it as deep bone pain because it feels like it's coming from right within my, oh wait, hang on, it is my bone marrow, for bleep's sake, it's my bone marrow, because that's where they found my mast cells, right? And so it literally feels like it's coming from there, and like I'd end up in bed for days on end, and then this started happening. I'd start having severe allergic reactions, anaphylaxis to my pain. And we couldn't figure out what was going on there and why I was ending up in hospital. And so I have on one of my, I wear two medical alert bracelets when I don't have them on today because they're being washed, but I normally wear two medical alert bracelets, and one of them says idiopathic anaphylaxis on it. And I have two because I couldn't fit everything I needed on one. So medical alert went, you're going to need a couple. So two it is. Anyway, and so idiopathic anaphylaxis means, you're having pain to things that they don't know about. So, you're not sure where the trigger is or whatever. And pain was one of mine. And what I learned through that process was I could never, ever, ever tell medical professionals how much pain I was in. Because if I did, I would appear drug seeking, and I wasn't. I just wanted the allergic reactions to stop. I just wanted to be able to breathe. I wanted the hives to go away. I wanted to stop throwing up. I wanted to stop having these horrendous migraine headaches, because I would get these headaches as well. I just wanted to stop hurting everywhere. And I wanted to stop being a burden to everybody around me. And pain was just a part of all that. So I just wouldn't mention it. It would be my family, actually, my mom or my husband, two of my biggest advocates, and then eventually my mum-in-law, who would say, can you not see what's going on here? Or the doctor would say we're missing something. What's going on? Why isn't her blood pressure coming down? We've given her all these drugs and all these medicines, and this should be happening. And anyway, we'd figure out that it was pain, and then so they'd sort that out. So there's various manifestations. And so you have food triggers, emotional triggers. And that's another thing. I've had to learn to get very, very, very zen in my world. Oh, I got you can't really see it here, but I got a post up that says, my past suffering does not have to hurt me any longer. I feel the joys in my life much more strongly than any, because I'm trying to read past my lamp here, strongly than any pain. I only have today, and I can only make, hang on, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, those kind of posts. So I've got things up all around me going, Fiona, be zen. Fiona, keep it on, keep it low, keep it low. And so learning to actually regulate my emotions has been something I've had to do over the last 15 years, because we've discovered if I get too unhappy, too upset, or even too joy-filled, we've had to be careful about getting too happy. It can trigger a massive reaction, which sounds absurd, actually, until you see it. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Anybody that's in my actual circle or circles has seen it and goes, and literally the first time anybody sees it, this is what they say. This is happening. This is real. And it's true. And people can't believe it, actually, because you think that people can only be reactive to things like, I don't know, a bee sting or peanut butter. And I am reactive to those things, quite frankly. Not peanut butter, but almond butter and other nut butters. So peanuts are actually one of my friends, ironically. But that's the thing about mast cell disease, right? It's a friend to me, it might not be to you, or to someone else, because our food things are also different. And then there's things like this, and this is what starts making it look kind of, and here I'm going to use some ableist language. It starts looking nutty to the outside world, and I'm saying that in quotation marks because it just, hang on, maybe I should use unbelievable. Oh wait, hang on, even that language feels wrong too. It starts feeling like people can't believe what's going on here. So as an example, for the last 15 years, I haven't been able to eat potatoes. I waited until I had anaphylaxis, full scale anaphylaxis, to give up every single version of potatoes and every kind of potato, and every French fry, or like from a burger joint on the planet. So there is something going on that I was able to eat McDonald's French fries and Pringles potato chips this last 15 years, but I was allergic to potato starch and all kinds of other potatoes. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's the way that they're processed, because my understanding is they do start off their lives as real potatoes, because we've looked into this. So it's been kind of like, oh, sweet mystery. What are they? But anyway, all other kind of potatoes have been off the table. But I inadvertently, just a few weeks ago, accidentally ingested 2 real pieces of potato inside of a burger that we had ordered from a restaurant that has not yet hurt me. And that's the other thing, trying to find restaurants that won't hurt you. I mean, not that they intend to, but that take your allergies seriously. And so there are a few restaurants here in Winnipeg that are very careful when I write on it, like life-threatening allergy. I'll totally take it seriously. So anyway, this particular restaurant has been amazing, but accidentally 2 small pieces of French fry found their way into my burger this day. And I bit down on it and went, wow, that's really tasty. Wow, some weird texture in there. What's going on? And then I took 2 bites of it and swallowed it before I realized, like before I really looked at it, that there was something in my burger that shouldn't be there. It turns out, of course, it was 2 French fries. So this is what happens to a person that's had anaphylaxis and now has this in front of them. You panic, right? You go, like, full scale. Look, you should have seen my husband. He didn't even look to see if I was okay. He just ran for EpiPens, because I just ingested potatoes, right? Full scale alert. He ran everywhere for the like EpiPens, the injectable Benadryls, the injectable steroids, and he was getting ready to call 911 because the assumption was I was going to die from this interaction. And nothing happened. And I went, whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. And he goes, what? As he's bringing me all of this stuff to help me. I go, look at me. And he goes, what? And I go, look, like nothing. What's going on? I don't understand what's going on. And so literally I had no reaction to this potato incident. And I have tested this over the last few months. And I recently ate my first baked potato.
Oh, nice.
I know. And I recently had like my first real poutine from like a poutineery.
Wow.
And I please don't think I just jumped in and did all this. I did this
No.
like, and I waited like days, weeks in between, because immunologists will tell you to test these kinds of things carefully, and maybe near a hospital room. Yeah. Like, don't just do this. Right. We had EpiPens at the ready. And it was because I hadn't actually had an incident from this accidental ingestion.
Mm-hmm.
So things can change in mast cell world. Literally had years of anaphylaxis to this stuff. And now I'm not. What? And it's because mast cells are funky beasts. I don't actually have a true potato allergy. We tested it. We knew this already. I do have a true like latex allergy. That's not going to go anywhere. Are potatoes a crossover food? Yes, they are. Do I have trouble with nightshades? Yes, I do. And so there's some like crossover here, but it wasn't a true allergy because, like, like I said, we did blood, we did skin, we did all of these allergy tests, and like it didn't come out. And I was like, well, why am I having potato problems? Don't know why you're having potato problems. This is a mast cell thing. And now I'm okay with it. I can't tell you why I'm okay with it now. I can just tell you my mast cells have settled down in some way. They seem to have chilled out. I don't know if they've gotten zen in their own way. But now when they interact with potatoes, they're all like, hey, we're okay. We're friends. We're good. We're good. I like you. We're good. And they're not having a full-scale meltdown in my body.
It's interesting that you said that. There's actually something I tried recently again. I don't remember what it was, but I ate it and I was like, oh, I'm fine with this. I can't remember what it was, but like bananas. Bananas, we used to give me migraines, make me vomit, and have like really bad mast cell reactions. And I've tried eating bananas again, and I can eat them. There is this theory, which I don't know if it's like medically proven or just like a theory, uh, and I probably can't include this in the documentary since it's a theory and not proven, but uh, some say that after 7 years, the things that you're allergic to, your body becomes unallergic to. Like you can actually reintroduce foods. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's something that I've been testing throughout the time of having mast cell disease because, like mushrooms, as an example, are something that I didn't used to have a problem with. And then I started to have massive problems with like vomiting as soon as it touches my lips, vomiting. Um, Obviously fun. So I would like to try mushrooms again because, like, well, maybe eventually because my face still swells if they're being cooked in the same house. So there is that little tidbit with it. But yeah, as far as the psychedelics go, some of them are mushrooms. So I would have to be monitored while doing that.
Yeah, you would.
But yeah, it's interesting that you said that, and the whole emotions and reacting to one's emotions is something that I've been dealing with. And I actually had someone in the last year say that I was doing it to manipulate somebody, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Do you know how ableist that is of you to not understand someone's situation, especially with a disease that there's not tons of information on out there in the like mainstream, especially?" And to have someone tell me that I'm doing something to manipulate someone when my face is visibly swollen or like my voice becomes relatively hoarse and I don't even sound like myself.
The way that happened.
Um, like like I can't just sit around and cry for a day, even if I want to. I will swell. I will be unable to do something for a long period of time after. I have to inject myself with medication. Like there's all of these things. If someone is yelling at me, that triggers my fight or flight to the point where I start to panic inside and then I start to have an allergic reaction because of that panic. So trying to explain that to people that don't have it and then to be said be be told that you're trying to manipulate someone really irks me. Like,
I think that's well placed irk, first of all, and very dismissive of
mhm.
individuals um, who are, who are, saying this or stating these kinds of things. I also think they don't understand and don't want. The bigger thing is they don't want to understand
Yeah,
on here because, quite frankly, it did not take the people in my world who love me truly very long to understand that if we got into some kind of upset, no matter what it was about, whether it was logical or it wasn't logical, it didn't have to be
yeah,
logical. And because I'm OCD as well, I will get upset about silly things, and I'm saying silly things because like it's important to me, but it's not important to other people. So
mm-hmm.
like the cutlery being in the right slots in the drawer in the kitchen, which makes logical sense to how like you like it makes sense to me, might not make other sense. Anyway, these are things I would get upset about and I would have big emotional reactions about. And like these are maybe lesser things than like the bigger kind of scale arguments human beings can have, but they are things that would trigger big emotional responses in me because I just really needed these things in this order because, I have this neurodivergence and I can't help this. But like, I do try to like be kind about it. However, whether or not I'm trying to be kind about it, I have this reaction and then my cells have a reaction to my reaction. And that is what you're talking about. We can't actually help the cellular reaction to the reactions. We have no control over that. And when somebody is dismissive of this biological, like cellular reaction to these other things, I don't know what else to call that other than like ignorance or being rude or just like an overwhelming unwillingness to want to learn and to realize that actually we need to mitigate those things so they don't happen because they can be dangerous. So the people in my world started realizing that we can't have arguments over things like cutlery. We just can't. And actually, while I need to be kinder and cooler about like if the spoons actually like end up in the other slot, overall, let's just try and keep them in the order so mom doesn't get upset. Without being afraid in the house. No one wants to be like, I'm not going to have like a full scale meltdown, but like, because I can be a reasonable human being. But let's just not go there. right?
Yeah.
Or if like, we are having an argument over something very like some people's idea for like people argue for all kinds of reasons, but like things like, my idea of lying and other people's idea of lying might be very different, for example. What I consider a lie, some people might consider a little white lie, but I am so fastidious about rules. Actually, so maybe like we argue over something like this, and maybe I get riled up. I can't get riled up, actually. That cannot happen, actually. So let's not go there. And if you're in spaces like, so I had to stop doing this because I'm an advocate and because I care. I had to stop doing this because it wasn't okay for my cells, actually, let alone my mental health, my cells. I had to stop like going to spaces where there were like social justice warriors and things like that because these arguments that were like online, for example, I would get like so upset because I would see like one person's side of the argument or I would like disagree with somebody else's side of the argument. I couldn't do that to myself. I had to stop because these were emotions that were fueling cellular responses that weren't healthy for me. So whatever I can do to mitigate this peace and calm in my world is what I have to actually do. And sometimes that means I have to walk away from social media. Sometimes that means I have to walk away from just actually being online. And what I do actually once a week is a good practice for me. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but you cannot get a hold of me from Friday night to Saturday morning unless we make arrangements like this, or actually Sunday morning because I unplug from technology. But we made arrangements for this, so we were meeting today.
Well, I understand that. Like sometimes I just don't check my social media and then I'll get messages, oh, where have you been? Or why aren't you messaging me? And it's like I need to do stuff for myself. And people who don't have mast cell disease, I don't think necessarily understand having to take breaks like that. And I know for myself, having arguments and like emotionally charged conversations tend to lead me down that reaction path, which leads to the reactive depression you get after having a major reaction like anaphylaxis or anaphylactoid responses to your own emotions. And then you get, I don't know about you, but I get stuck in this kind of like rut sort of with this like life sucks, because of how hard this is, and people don't understand what I'm actually going through unless they have something similar and they've been kept inside for long periods of time. And then they have to do all of these things to actually leave their home, and they know the kind of logical stress and actual threat to your life by leaving your home that ends up happening when you have mast cell disease. So that's something that I struggle with myself. But now that I've asked you that one, what would you describe like mastocytosis like? Like, what is it like to live with mastocytosis? In your own words, can you describe what the disease is like?
The disease itself, or
Yeah,
um,
so like you've touched on like the anaphylaxis point, and a lot of people, well, some people know what it is. There's a lot of people I've talked to online that don't have a clue what anaphylaxis is. So when it comes to mast cell disease, what is it like to have anaphylaxis? But also, what is it like to live with the disease itself? Because you have talked about how you've been stuck inside for like 15 years
mm,
and how difficult that is for you. But what does the disease itself, symptoms wise, look like for you?
that's a great question. It changes from day to day. That's the first thing. And I think for outside people, especially doctors, but like other people, it can be difficult to understand that. And I'm saying for doctors, my immunologist has a pretty good idea because she's got a number of mastocytosis or mast cell patients. So on a given day, let's take an average given day. On a given day, I will wake up before my eyes are even open. I can tell what kind of day it's going to be. Um, and today was a pretty good day. So I'm glad my caregiver woke up feeling sick today. If he's going to be sick, today's a good day for it because I was able to take care of him today. Because I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, not too bad. Just feeling a bit. I always wake up stuffed up My sinuses are clogged. I always have some kind of golly in the back of my throat. I don't know if that's a medical term. I don't think that is. That's like post-nasal drip that goes down in the back of your throat. For some reason, my body refuses to swallow that. So I wake up every morning and there's a big gob of something at the back of my throat. I don't know if that's too graphic. It's disgusting. But the first thing I do is get up, run, and I mean run to the bathroom. Most people go pee. I do not. I run to the sink and go,
That does
and
not sound pleasant.
up it comes. And very often I throw up with it. Right. So that's how I start most of my days. And so of course, then I want to brush my teeth, which, is I don't know, when you got that kind of thing going on already, because you've already been gagging, like my okay, so this is why you want to live with somebody who's got a great sense of humor and who is your friend. Because from the bedroom I will hear, honey, I'm only a man. I'm only human. It's here. Right.
That's great. That's great.
We have very much learned to have a good sense of humor around here about things like that. Anyway, that's like a physical thing that comes down from my neck because my sinuses, I don't know if you can see them, but like I've always got these bumps. So these are pretty small today. They're normally ginormous here. These swells here, my sinuses have been swollen for 15 plus years or something. And they hurt most of the time. And so I wake up every morning and I feel hungover. That's the other thing. And that's not fair because I don't drink. Because if I did, I'd probably react to most of it. I can have a few like cocktail, like kind of cocktails. I can have a couple of kinds of wine, and it's taken time to figure out which ones won't hurt me. But I don't ever drink to the point of having a hangover. Well, A, because I'm older and I've learned not to. But it's unfair to wake up every single morning feeling hungover and you've done nothing. But that's my day. I start off like that. So then it's always a question of mitigating what I need to do to start feeling more human. And so everybody that really knows me in my world knows that I need a good hour or two to get myself together before I can do anything. So if I have to teach, because I do work, if I have to teach at 9 o'clock in the morning, I know I need to get up around 6 or 7, probably 6 is better, and start dealing with myself just so I've got space to sort of give my cells some like adjustment time, I call it, really. And so I medicate, and that's how I start my day. And some people with mastocytosis or mast cell disease take the same medications every single day during the day, religiously. And I do take some medications like that, but I have other medications that I take acutely to deal with things like, oh, well, how bad are these sinuses today? How bad is the headache today? Do I have a migraine today? Because it could, like, I also get migraines on top of everything else, and those are mast cell mediated. We know. And so my mast cells like are happy in like one part of my brain, and so when they're having a bit of a party in there, it's even worse. And my neurologist says my description of widespread body pain, which has loosely been, no, not loosely, he told me last visit was fibromyalgia. I don't need another diagnosis, but like, it's this kind of pain, of I've got a migraine in my whole body. I wake up feeling like that too. It hurts to move. And I'm also swollen. Like I'm swollen in so many places, like around here, here, my fingers, my rings don't fit. I can't get them off today. And like this is how I know I'm swelling is by like, can I get the rings on? Can I get the rings on? Like, oh, I'm stuck. It hurts. Why am I even still wearing them? Because the swelling can be like 2 or 3 ring sizes, easily. And can I even get my feet in my shoes today? Can I? I walk around barefoot quite a lot because I just can't. So is it a good thing that I work at home? Yes, it is. I'm I am going to say this. Thank you, Skechers. Thank you. Maybe I shouldn't name brand drop, but like, thank you. Thank you for making these shoes. Because I've got a nice pair of ballerina flats. And so they kind of give and stretch with me, but they also go back. So when my feet are not swollen, they look nice and dainty on my feet.
That's good. I actually haven't found shoes like that, so I might look into that.
It honestly was one of the best like $80 purchases I've ever made.
Okay.
Yeah. Quite frankly, and they're so comfortable. Yeah, highly recommended. And yeah, anyway. So big feet, small feet, they work. Anyway, that's kind of how I start my day. And then I have to sort of deal with whether I'm going to need electrolytes today. Most days I do. So I actually take some electrolyte pills now instead of like drinking loads of sugar-laden drinks. But I do have sugar-laden drinks. Should I feel the craving for that, I will actually just give in and do it, because then I know my body really needs like some other thing that's maybe, I don't know, in it. But I do have tablets for electrolytes, which does also work. But there's something very immediate about because the capsules don't have to break apart or something. There's something very immediate about the sports drink. Done. Oh, feeling better. Steroids. I'm supposed to take steroids every single day, and I did do that before. I did, and I blossomed well over 300 pounds. So I've lost 76 pounds of that now, and I still have another like 70 something pounds to go on steroids, right? That's like, it's hard to do that. But you got to do what you got to do. Because, and I don't take them every day, and I know like you're supposed to, but like I'm not telling anybody else what to do. I just can't do that, because all I am is swollen when I do that. And yes, I hurt less, but I just couldn't keep getting larger, because it was hurting me more. It was literally, I'm 5'2". It was hurting my joints in a really big way. I need to keep moving. And so I do yoga. And so one of the what I'm always trying to do first thing in the morning is be able to move enough, get myself moving enough that I can get on my yoga mat actually before I start work. So I've got these little goals I set for myself. Do I always do it? No, and I got to be kind to myself when it doesn't happen. Some days I just need to sleep more, so I do that if I do. Today I needed a little bit more sleep, but I am going to do it later after this. And when I began, I could only be on my yoga mat for like 26 seconds ish, 20 seconds. And that had to be enough. Because yoga, actually, what I learned, doesn't really ask much more of you than what you can give. I was being hard on myself. So yoga's lovely that way. Yoga's actually quite a kind thing. It was me that was being unkind. And so now, what I'm doing is at least 3 or 4 days a week. I put on the TV because it's convenient. It's in my living room. I put on some music from like the Stingray channel. Sometimes it's big band. Sometimes it's jukebox oldies or something like that. Sometimes I put on the 80s channel, but very often there's lots of songs in there I don't love. So like I put on for a few songs and I go back to like big band or something. But I just dance in my living room for about 30 minutes. When I say dance, I'm just like, sometimes I'm just moving back and forth like this. I'm just trying to keep moving right now. That's all I'm trying to do. It has taken me just over 7 years to be able to work up to this 30 minutes that I've got going on right now. That's long-term planning.
That's good though. That's also like slow and steady wins the race, instead of people that are like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym and work out an hour every day, and then they never do any of it. It's better to have little goals and gradually increase. I'm trying to do that with my exercise bike, but lately I'm becoming reactive when getting too hot. So
this is something like what you're just saying. There's a thing. I was talking to my neurologist and my doctor about it recently, and I am being sent to an occupational therapist soon to learn pacing, because while I've gotten up to this sort of 30 minutes, and yes, I've done this over time, and yes, it looks like I've got a good handle on this. what you're talking about here. Because I kind of gotten here, I'm like, I need to build up more in increments, but I keep finding myself in this space where I've gone too far. Like I've got my heart rate up to, and this is a mast cell thing. We have to be careful about this because we can have exercise induced mast cell reactions, and they can be anything from hives right up to anaphylaxis and anything in between. You can find yourself vomiting. You can find yourself like itching, swelling, throat closing in, tongue itchy, you name it, the gamut, it's all there, right?
I
And all of them.
I had my whole chest started flushing and my hands turned red and my legs are red and I was like, I need to stop. And then I find that I get frustrated with myself because I'm like, oh, I'm being lazy and not, able to do it for however long. And my doctor wants me to do 60 minutes and I'm only able to do 5 to 15 depending on the day. And then I get concerned about heart attack or stroke. And it's like, well, where's the line? Like I'm having these reactions and sometimes I'll ride my bike and then I'm so nauseous after and then I can't do anything physical for an entire week.
And so
And it's more infuriating because it's like I'm exhausted from the exercise and then the doctor's, oh, it will get better. But it's not getting better because I'm reactive. And then because I'm having reactions, I'm getting the depression. And then the depression is causing me to not do the things because I'm scared of having the reaction again. And it's a logical cycle. But at the same time, it's almost as though people on the outside, whether it's doctors in medicine or psychiatrists or therapists or friends or family or whatever, are all making it seem like it's a lazy thing. And it's like, it's not. Like, I want to work out. I want to go freaking swimming. I want to swim. I want to swim so bad because I used to swim on a swim team when I was younger. Nice. And I miss that. Mm-hmm. And I can do 30 plus laps in an Olympic sized pool. And that's what I was doing when I was on Zolar the first time. I was in a chemical pool.
So this is what I'm saying, when I said at the beginning, learning to trust ourselves because we remember what we were like when we were well, mm-hmm. or when we've had better times in our life. Other individuals don't know these things about us. And also there is, just because 30 minutes of exercise works for your average normal person who's well, doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody like this. And we know with conditions that are autoimmune, like say fibromyalgia, for example, that pacing is something that we need to have on board, because if we do too much of it, it makes the symptoms worse. Well, I suggest, and you suggest, I think from your experience, that this is the same for individuals with mast cell disease or mast cell mayhem or mast cell activation disorder or mastocytosis, because mast cells get activated as well for some reason.